What makes us human? I don't mean biologically or semantically, I just mean what makes human in the philosophical or psychological sense. Is it logic and knowledge on a higher level than others? Is it consciousness? Who are you? Are you the voice inside your head? Are you your brain and its processes? If your brain stops functioning, do you as you are right now cease to exist? These are all questions that we could debate for an eternity, but what I wish to speak on today is an anime that delves into humanity itself, its deepest questions, challenges, and desires. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood has a treasure trove of themes and ideas about who we are at our cores. In this video, I will dive into the messages that it delivers and the psychological backing behind them in real life. Just to quickly sum up FMAB for anyone who may not be fully acquainted, the show is about two brothers, Edward and Alphonse Elric. They live in a world where alchemy is the main source of power, which is basically just chemical manipulation of the world around them. The two brothers attempt to perform human transmutation to bring their mother back from the dead. As a result of this, Edward loses an arm and a leg and Alphonse loses his body, and is only saved when Edward binds his soul to a suit of armor. The show is about the two brothers trying to get Alphonse's body back and uncovering a government plot. The main way in which we see the questioning of sense of self comes from Alphonse and his lack of a body. There are times in the story where he truly doesn't even feel human simply because he lacks the body, begging the question of what truly makes one human. A psychological term that is very similar to this feeling is called dissociation. Although this phrase is commonly thrown around on social media, what it really means is feeling disconnected from your own thoughts, feelings, and sense of self. We even see Alphonse questioning if any of this is even real when Barry the Chopper plants a seed in him that all of his memories may be fake. This questioning of identity leads to a very powerful conversation between Alphonse and Edward about their past memories and how they know they're real. Another way in which the sense of self and personal understanding is explored is through the acts of trauma that the state alchemists caused and experienced during the Ishvalan Civil War. We see strong examples of cognitive dissonance and the long-term effects of going against your morals for what you believe to be a good cause. Cognitive dissonance is a psychological term that means the uncomfortable state that you are in after your actions go against your beliefs. At first, the state alchemists felt like they were doing something good. They were even being manipulated by those around them. Kimberly tries to tell Riza Hawkeye that they are only in this war for one reason, and that is to kill the enemy, and the Ishvalans are their enemies. This attempt at stretching the truth and morals of Riza is a prime example of gaslighting. He's trying to get Riza to believe that they aren't even doing anything wrong, making Riza feel wrong for even questioning what they're doing. What makes this even worse is when we learn that the war in Ishval was being entirely orchestrated by Father to cause as much death as possible. The deaths weren't just for no reason, they were for the purpose of pure evil. This results in serious guilt for many of the state alchemists involved in the war. Guilt is believed to have come about as a way for us to avoid acting in a manner that would result in exile from a community. You don't want to act poorly, so when you do act poorly, the result is you feeling bad about yourself, i.e. guilt. When Riza tells Edward about what she and the other state alchemists did, she doesn't sugarcoat it at all. She says it how it is. They slaughtered innocents. She is clearly haunted by what she did and believes that she deserves death for what she did, but also wants to atone for all of her wrongdoings. The whole reason why this war started, though, was for one thing only: control. Father wanted complete power and control over the world, and he took whatever steps he deemed necessary in order to achieve that ultimate goal. On the deepest level, humans always desire power and control. It's the purest form of stability. If you are the strongest, nothing could ever knock you away from that. Humans have a tendency to not stop and not settle for anything less than greatness. Sure, it originally came from a need to survive, but in modern times, desire has gone far beyond the necessary limits. And the homunculi from Fullmetal Alchemist represent this perfectly. What happens when desire goes too far?
Greed may not be good, but it's not so bad either. You humans think greed is just for money and power, but everyone wants something they don't have.
Greed is something that nearly all people have lying within them. The only difference is that some people choose to act on it. It's a lie that our brains fall for that leads us onto paths we initially believe will lead to fulfillment, but that is everything but the case. Greed's character in FMAB, though, represents a different kind of greed, if you can even call it that. At first, Greed's character seems to be all about achieving maximum power and control, but when he teams up with Edward in Ling's body, we see a different side of him. Sure, there was potential for benefiting Greed by joining Edward, but we later learn that the real reason why he did this was because he truly desired friendship. He disguised this truth by pretending to see people as nothing more than objects, when that really wasn't the case. Gluttony, as a homunculus and a character trait, both represent what happens psychologically when you are overtaken by desire. Gluttony isn't just about food. In psychology, it's any insatiable desire to consume and feel pleasure, and this is exactly who gluttony is. In Fullmetal Alchemist, gluttony is practically an animal. He thinks of nothing more than feeding his urges. Gluttony symbolizes what could happen to every single one of us if we let desires take control over our lives, working as a reminder to not lose yourself in the pleasures of life. From who you truly are to guilt and desire, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood tackles many heavy topics throughout its story. It teaches us how to become better versions of ourselves through the failures and experiences of its characters. Thanks for watching, and as always, please like, subscribe, and drop a comment if you like this video. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one.